Hi there and welcome back to Japan and to our World Tour Wednesday feature where we check out music by artists from other countries, and today I've done a reaction and review to Dust to Dust by The Warning, my first ever time hearing this band. So what I want you to do now is if you want to see the reaction that I just recorded, you have to pause this video, click the link in the description below which will open up a separate little player where you can see the reaction and watch the song along with me. If you want to hear the song, if you haven't heard it before, if you just want to see my face moving as I hear it for the first time. If not, here comes the review. So have you seen the reaction? Have you paused this one? Have you watched it? Have you watched the reaction yet? If you watched the reaction, we're fine. If not, here comes the review. Don't say I didn't warn you. Review time. Okay, so like I said, when I went into this, I didn't really know anything, but I got kind of a little bit of a vibe, first of all, by the name, by looking at the cover, and also by hearing a little bit of the chatter that had happened around this band in Discord, which, again, you can find that in the description below. So I had been kind of semi-aware that I was expecting something rocky, I was expecting something a bit heavy, and I knew there was a female vocalist, but beyond that, didn't really know what to expect. Now, in a way, I was kind of thinking, is this going to be one of those guitar twiddle bands where it's like, you know, real sort of shredding all the time, which is a bit of that's a 50-50 one with me. I think it's one of those skills where a lot of people can do it, but doing it well is very difficult. To my surprise, this is not what this was at all. Actually, one of the things that I kind of found quite appealing about this is it was just kind of formed around very simple but very effective songwriting. There was no trickery, don't get me wrong, I mean, I like a bit of innovation, I like something clever and different, but this kind of knew how to just do a sort of core song. Now, I believe this is one of their more popular singles, so this might just be on the simpler end for them. They might have some more experimental, intricate stuff going on elsewhere in their catalogue. However, as an introduction, this sounded like a good single, a good, interesting song. Now, one of the things I have to say, as always, we're positive and negative. We're just honest on this channel. It's not all kissing us going, oh my God, that's amazing every 5 seconds. I try to give an honest breakdown of what I think. And as always, whatever you think is your opinion. So by all means, you can disagree with me. It's fine. I look forward to reading the comments afterwards. Certainly, that's always fun. It's good to have a good conversation about these things. However, when I was listening to this song, one of the vibes I got, and this might be because it was a single, was that the singer had a really, really nice full voice. It wasn't being particularly pushed in this song. It sounded like she was quite uncontrolled. I mean, this song had a mid-tempo feel where it didn't feel like it was supposed to be a big sort of blasting song. It felt more like it was supposed to be soulful, and that came across. However, with that being said, the overall arrangement, to a degree, the way that the chord patterns happened, the way that the song developed, the pre-chorus with the rolling tom drums and everything like that, it did remind me, I guess this is an inevitable comparison, it reminded me a little bit of being like Evanescence without the strings. I think if you'd put a string section on the back of this, like Evanescence always did, if you put a string section on the back of this, I think you'd get something that would sound incredibly Evanescence-ish. Just the whole writing style was in that sort of direction. However, that's in no way an insult. I mean, they're a band who I know they were quite mainstream, and mainstream is seen as being a bad thing by a lot of people. But Evanescence certainly did put a really interesting spin on the genre that was already going at the time, and they do have some really good songs. So I don't mean that as an insult, but it is sort of what was coming into my head. It was the nearest comparison that was coming into my head when I was listening to that. This, however, had a more raw feel in that it was just the instruments, it was just the guitar, bass, drums, vocals, it was very much like you were listening just to the band, which is a laudable quality of its own. That, however, led to a little bit of a juxtaposition where, in one side, I really liked the purity of it. I liked the fact that, like I say, that there is, as much as I talk about liking intricacy on this channel, liking clever writing, there is a quality to something that is simple, that just works. And this was very simple. The riff was simple. The chord pattern had its interesting things, but basically, the whole direction of a song, very simply written. But it just kind of felt like it clicked. You really knew where it was going. You got a good feel for the emotion. They switched things up a little bit in the bridge by having, it was kind of the same thing. The song just kept on going, but then the drum beat picked up and they had like a little spoken bit, which I'm assuming was in Mexican because I couldn't understand it. And they're Mexican, so I think that's a logical conclusion from someone who can't speak Mexican. It sort of sped up there. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then it broke down and, it sort of went to a simple strip back arrangement and built back up. All fairly simple techniques. But again, there's sort of techniques where if you say, oh, okay, the song goes double time, people might think, oh, simple writing choice. But it's about picking the right choice in the right moment, the thing that clicks. And just everything about this song, I think there was a... You know how they say that the cleverest ideas the simplest ideas are often the hardest ones to come up with. It was kind of like that. It was like, this was just like I said, the fact that it clicked all the way through. So I really enjoyed this. I would be interested to hear more of this band, but I think I would be interested to hear more of this band from the context of, when I heard this, I was thinking, okay, that is a nicely written song, but it sounds kind of like you'd expect like a single from this type of band. Yeah, it sounds like the safe version. So I'd be interested to hear, doesn't have to be twiddly, but like to hear by comparison what their more experimental side is. What is another thing about this band that's a bit more experimental? As always with World Tour Wednesdays, obviously this is our first time coming back with this new format. However, as is always the case with World Tour Wednesdays, if an artist people are really interested in and they want me to check out more by a certain artist, I'm happy to come back to them. So, and the other thing as well now is with this new World Tour Wednesday format, we're not doing one country each week. We're literally just saying, hey, let's have a look at what people want to listen to, because it just became really hard to curate the list last time. So, yeah, as a result, it's easier to come back to artists. So if you guys want me to check out more of The Warning, I would ask, can you give me something which is a bit more experimental for them, something a little bit of contrast to this, so that I can really get a feel for what the band is as a total. Certainly looking forward to reading your comments, seeing what you guys think of this as well, telling me a bit more about the artist. As always, I don't pre-research unless I already know the artist. I don't pre-research at all, because that kind of biases and sways your opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Obviously, I'm just speaking as someone who, been working in music my entire life, my entire adult life. I wasn't, not when I was a baby. But as a result, songwriting is kind of how I look at songs, but really interested to see what stands out for you guys, whether you like this one or not, whether you know the artist or not, etc., etc., etc. As always, thank you to anyone who follows any of the social medias, also linked in the description below. A big thank you to you for making it through to the end of a video. Massive thank you if you've liked or subscribed as a result of this recording. And also just wanted to point out as well, Patreons, we love you. You keep this whole thing alive. I say it every video because it is so true. So, gracias to you. Did that work? I don't know. I don't know if it did. And until I see you hopefully soon for the next video here from Japan, for now, ciao ciao.